Part 124. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1231. At this time, however, Xiao Xian stood up, squinted his eyes, looked at Gu Feng and Jing Tun, and said, "Baby, it seems that you have obtained the tomb of the disciple of the old man in the valley. I won't bother you anymore." Gu Feng sneered, "If you want to fight, then fight, if not, then get out." "Beat. Then let's fight." Xiao Xian's eyes were sharp and his figure was like lightning. He disappeared instantly and then appeared behind Gu Feng. Gu Feng reacted quickly and stretched out a huge bone to hit Xiao Xian. But the next second, Xiao Xian's figure disappeared on the spot again like a ghost, and the Tianlang sword stabbed Gu Feng between the eyebrows. "Dare!" Gu Feng was angry. He could see that Xiao Xian was just a cultivator of the little golden god realm, and was much worse than him in realm. This means that he has just experienced a big battle. Otherwise, for him in his heyday, Xiao Xian was simply not a guy to be afraid of. Bone spirit technique. At that moment, Gu Feng did not dare to neglect, and directly used his strongest heaven-level Taoist technique. The damn thing turned out to be bone spirit art. Seeing Xiao Xian take action, Tum Qing quickly followed behind. "Jing Tun, what the hell are you waiting for? Take action now." Faced with the attacks of the two men, Gu Feng was suddenly at a disadvantage. But the next second, a scene that shocked everyone appeared. Ji Tun, who was about to take action just now, spit out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. There was a wound on the chest that had been pierced by an awl. Obviously, he can no longer survive. Jing Tun from the giant whale gate, a strong man in the golden god realm, was actually killed with one move. For a moment, everyone's eyes were a little dull. Finally, his eyes fell on Xiao Xian behind him. At this moment, Xiao Xian wiped the blood on his hands and sneered. "As expected of the heavenly Taoist soul cone of death, it's amazing." Xiao Xian smiled and said, "How about it? For the rest of you, do you still want to fight? I'm happy to accompany you." This completely frightened the people of the giant whale sect and the white bone sect. To know what Xiao Xian showed was only the strength of a small golden god. Even if Jing Tun was injured, he was still a real golden god. But in just such a moment, Xiao Xian was killed directly. With such strength, it is not something that ordinary people can fight against, which really scares the disciples of the two sects. Gu Feng, surrender. Tum Qing was also pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect that Xiao Xian was so powerful. "Surrender? Humph, do you think I'm so stupid that you will let me go if I surrender?" Gu Feng gritted his teeth and said, "Even if I die, I will drag you to be buried with me." After saying that, he actually forced the bone spirit technique to activate. In an instant, countless little skeletons holding swords and shields were summoned around them. Each little skeleton has the strength of a small golden god. Although one-on-one, Tomb Spirit sect disciples are not afraid of these little skeletons. But there were too many little skeletons, and soon they were a little tired of dealing with them. In addition, the little skeletons were immortal. Even if they were broken, they could stand up and fight again. Catch the thief first and capture the king first. Tum Qing, catch the bone wind. Xiao Xian soon noticed that Gu Feng was hiding behind a group of small skeletons and was constantly reciting Taoism. "Go together." Tum Qing took out a big iron hammer and swept it across the group of small skeletons in front of him. With each attack, the group of small skeletons in front of him fell to pieces. Xiao Xian's serious sword can also make the little skeletons lose their heads with just one swing. Suffer death. Watch out. After Gu Feng reacted, Xiao Xian had already appeared behind him, and the serious sword pierced his heart directly. After scarlet blood spurted out from his chest. Gu Fengke lowered his head in disbelief, spit out a mouthful of blood, and fell softly to the ground. At the same time, the little skeletons who fought against the tomb spirit sect also turned into broken bones and fell to the ground in a mess. Amazing! How did they find this place? Tum Ching and Xiaoxian didn't have time to pay attention to these little skeletons. After killing the remaining two sect disciples, they came to the entrance of the tomb, only to find that this was the tomb of the general holding a big halberd. There are various armors and weapons in the tomb, as well as marching talismans, practiced combat skills, etc. Obviously, this general is a martial arts fanatic. Good harvest. Pack all these things, don't leave any behind. Tum Ching was very happy. After all, a complete tomb of a strong man in the dragon god realm is extremely rare in the Flame Cemetery. Xiaoxian and Bai Ling were looking for it. However, apart from being interested in the talisman that could control the bone soldiers, he was not interested in anything else. This weapon talisman should be a puppet that can control two golden nerves. If you like it, take it. Toma Ching saw Xiaoxian studying it and said with a smile, I didn't expect you to be so strong. Haha. That is, the whale swallower's reaction is too slow, and he is injured. If he were in his prime, it would be a bit troublesome to deal with him. Xiaoxian smiled. However, Tum Ching heard something. What Xiaoxian said was that in its heyday, it was a bit troublesome to deal with, but it wasn't that it couldn't be dealt with. What does this mean? It shows that even if it is a whale in its heyday, Xiaoxian can still deal with it. This is no joke. A small cultivator of the Golden God realm was able to deal with the strong men of the Golden God realm in their heyday. This shows that Xiaoxian's strength should be among the top 3 in their team. Just saying. Bai Ling ran over happily holding a sword. What? You want to learn the sword? Xiaoxian was confused for a while. You are so good at the ancient flame holy body. If you don't practice the flame well, do you want to learn the sword? What's wrong? Master, you are a swordsman, so of course I also want to learn swordsmanship, right? Bai Ling said matter-of-factly, of course, I may be a little slow in learning, but with a good master like you, I shouldn't be slow, right? Hear this. Xiaoxian was also distressed. To be honest, Bai Ling, as an ancient flame saint, could cultivate many times faster than him. Maybe, by the time he reaches the Golden God realm, Bai Ling will have already reached the Dragon God realm. Now you are asking him to teach you how to learn swordsmanship? Isn't this just a joke? Hizzy. Rustling, rustling. At this time, a strange and heartbreaking sound suddenly came from the tomb. Everyone became nervous and looked around. At this time, a disciple of the tomb spirit sect was suddenly caught by a big bird and taken away directly. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1232. Not good. It's the six-winged iron hand flame monster. Everyone gather here and prepare to fight. Tomb Green eyes were sharp, and he could tell at a glance that the big bird that just appeared was the six-winged iron hand flame monster mentioned earlier. Xiaoxian also drew out the serious sword and prepared to fight. Bai Ling also got ready, but her current state was obviously not as handy as when she was chasing down the two sect disciples just now. Hizzy. After having a successful example. From the sky above the tomb, huge six-winged iron hand flame monsters are constantly flying out. The six wings are like 6 large fans. When attacked by the steel-like claws, even stones will be crushed instantly. Soon, 2 or 3 more tomb spirit sect disciples were taken away without even a chance to resist. This frightened the remaining people even more. Because they discovered that these 6-winged iron hand flame monsters were far more terrifying than they imagined. Facing these monsters, they didn't even have the ability to resist. No. We can't just sit there and wait for death. There are a lot of six-winged iron hand flame monsters. We have to find a safe place. Take the initiative. Xiao Xian could tell. Under the pressure of such death, the powerful men of the Golden God realm of the Tomb Spirit sect were likely to be dragged to death, and they immediately decided to take the initiative. But, this thing is very fast, how are you going to fight back? Tomb Ching was also worried. Fight fast with fast speed. If it's fast, I'll be faster than it. After Xiao Xian finished speaking, he spotted a six-winged iron hand flame monster and flew down to grab someone. He flew up, swung the serious sword, and with the blessing of Tian Kong's swordsmanship, he directly cut off the six-winged iron hand flame monster. Head. Foul-smelling blood spurted out instantly. After the six-winged iron hand flame monster landed on the ground, it struggled for a while before becoming motionless. See it? These guys are not invincible. Come on, let's fight them together. Xiao Xian roared angrily and directly commanded the Tomb Spirit sect disciples to fight tooth and nail. In fact, these disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect are also strong men in the Golden God realm carefully selected by the Master of the Tomb Spirit. They all have strength, but they were frightened by the fierce attack of the six-winged iron hand flame monster at first. I don't know how to use all kinds of Taoist combat skills. Seeing that Xiao Xian, a small golden god, could take the initiative to kill monsters, they all became excited and began to fight against the six-winged iron hand flame monster. The situation turned around in an instant. Although some Tomb Spirit sect disciples were bitten to death from time to time, at least they were no longer beaten on one side. At the same time, as the battle progresses, the disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect also discovered some of the weaknesses of these six-winged iron hand flame monsters. Various Taoist techniques attacked their eyes, and quickly drove away the group of six-winged iron hand flame monsters. Count the casualties. In this battle, 8 powerful men of the Golden God realm were lost. It can be considered a heavy loss. However, they also killed many six-winged iron hand flame monsters. The monster essences of such 8th level monsters are also expensive. Damn it! I just said, there must be this kind of monster in this place. Tomb Ching felt a little sorry for his brothers. He sat on a stone, wiped his sweat and gritted his teeth. Do not be angry. Now that we have arrived in this tomb, we can already imagine that the battle will be life or death. Xiao Xian asked, what are you going to do next? Do you want to move on? Keep going. This means continuing to search for the tomb of the old man of the valley, or the tombs of other disciples. But there may still be casualties. This was definitely not a decision taken lightly. What's your suggestion? Tomb Ching turned around and asked. My suggestion is to keep moving forward, Xiao Xian said, since there is such a precedent, moving forward will not be so difficult. It is best to work hard, to find the tomb of the old man in the valley. What do you think? Tomb Ching turned around and asked. After experiencing a battle, the Tomb Spirit sect disciples also hesitated. After all, no one knew whether it would be dangerous to go down. Actually, even if we return the same way, there will still be danger, Xiao Xian said, not only those six-winged iron hand flame monsters, but also the strong men from other sects, they may not have entered the depths of the tomb. He is just wandering around the periphery and robbing other sections. You're right. Tomb Green nodded. He knew that what Xiao Xian said was correct. In the tomb, there is no friendship between the strong men at all. As long as they encounter the treasure, even the close brothers may turn against each other. Rather than being robbed by these peripheral sects, it is better to take the initiative to progress and go deeper into the tomb to find more powerful secret treasures. Maybe there will be other exits in those tombs. Think of this. Tomb Ching also decided directly, I have decided to continue walking deeper into the tomb. Let's prepare ourselves. In fact, these Tomb Spirit sect disciples are also a little moved. After all, the treasures in a mere general's tomb are very limited. If they just go back like this, even if they can go back safely, the treasures they get will be very limited. It's better to fight directly. Not to mention getting the sacred artifact from the old man of the valley. Even if you get another disciple's treasure, it's still a good deal. Soon everyone decided for the best. It was Xiao Xian himself who felt something unusual. Since entering the tomb, he also tried to activate the treasure-finding eye on his body, but failed to activate it several times. Instead, after getting this general's treasure, he found that his spiritual eyes seemed to have some direction. Look back. Deep in the tomb of the old man in the valley, there is indeed a more precious golden treasure. This really shocked him. You know, for ordinary treasures, his spiritual eyes will emit red or green light. And encountered real treasures, only the spiritual eyes will show gold. Now, the way the spirit detecting eye behaves is enough to prove that there is indeed a treasure in it that makes him excited. Ha ha ha. That's great. In that case, let's go in this direction. Xiao Xian pointed directly behind him and said, I am sure that in this direction, there must be the treasure of the old man of the valley. His attitude. It really left the tomb spirit sect disciples present a little confused. Based on the previous situation, Xiao Xian rarely seemed to say anything so firmly. Even when fighting two sects, he would not be like this. What is happening now? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1233. Xiao Xian, what's wrong with you? Seeing Xiao Xian's appearance, Tum Qing couldn't help but be a little suspicious. He and Xiao Xian have known each other for a long time. Since Xiao Xian cured the cold poison on the tomb spirit master, he has a little understanding of the latter. In his impression, Xiao Xian was not a person who liked to talk casually. But now, he actually pointed directly behind him and said that there was the tomb of the old man of the valley. However, behind him, there is clearly a wall. Xiao Xian, you mean that all the treasures of the old man in the valley are hidden behind the wall? It's not that simple, right? Tum Qing couldn't help but ask. Don't you have a bronze compass? Take it out and look at it, Xiao Xian said with a smile. Right. I haven't used it yet. Tum Qing also nodded quickly. Speaking of which, this was the first time he took out the bronze compass since he came to this tomb. After taking out this thing, in front of everyone, Tum Qing injected a great power into it, and then, in front of everyone, the pointer of the bronze compass actually pointed to the wall behind him. This really surprised everyone. Even Tum Qing and Bai Ling had disbelieving looks in their eyes. They couldn't understand what was going on with Xiao Xian. After all, Xiao Xian is just a cultivator of the little golden god realm. Even his little golden god realm, he still managed to reach it by relying on the heavenly level pills of the tomb spirit master. Such strength. Xiao Xian has indeed created many miracles that ordinary people cannot believe. Heal the tomb spirit, kill the whale, and guide the direction of the treasure hunt. Not to mention all of these things, even one of them is worthy of surprise. You are really a person that I can't see through. Tum Qing couldn't help but look at Xiao Xian and said seriously, besides, you are also the strongest little golden god realm powerhouse I have ever seen. Ahem. I hope that that small print can be removed as soon as possible. Xiao Xian was a little dumbfounded. The strongest should be the strongest, why should we add a little golden god realm? Is it possible? Does anyone really care about this small word? Think of this. He was also embarrassed. On the other hand, Tum Qing smiled and said, Master Xiao Xian, I can guarantee this. It won't take long before your small character will be removed. We can bet. Ha ha ha, Xiao Xian laughed. Of course, but master, do we want to take a bet, which one of us will enter the Golden God realm first? Bai Ling asked slyly. This, I won't bet with you. Xiao Xian shook his head quickly. Ha ha ha. This time, another burst of smiles arose from the Tomb Spirit sect disciples. After all, as Bai Ling's master, at this time, he did not dare to compete with his apprentice to see who could enter the Golden God realm first. It was a bit embarrassing for such a thing to spread. Okay. Let's get down to business. After seeing a burst of ridicule, everyone relaxed a lot. Tum Ching also nodded and continued, although the White Bone sect and the Giant Whale sect are finished, there are still other powerful sects in the tomb. For example, Broken Star Sword sect, True Fire Academy, Yama Hall. These are powerful ones with considerable strength. To be honest, we have suffered a lot of losses now. If we face these sects at their peak, it will still be a bit difficult to deal with them. Yeah, then what should we do? Senior brother Tum Ching, what do you think we should do? What should we do? For the holy weapon, even the Tianli sect in Zhongzhou will have to fight for it. Zhongzhou. For a while, some disciples also started talking about it. However, during this discussion, the disciples of the Tomb Spirit sect were still very motivated. Okay, let's not talk about the behemoth in Zhongzhou. I think the ones that are more threatening to us at the moment are the Broken Star Sword sect and the Yama Palace. As for the True Fire Academy, they have a good relationship with our Tomb Spirit sect and they probably don't know how to use weapons. Meet each other. Tum Ching analyzed. Next, in addition to looking for the tomb of the old man in the valley, the most important thing for us is to be alert to attacks from other sections. Yes, some Tomb Spirit sect disciples nodded one after another. There's nothing else. Everyone, prepare yourself, and prepare to fight those guys. Tomb Green encouraged. But this time, Xiao Xian thought about it calmly and said, Tum Ching, do you know how many disciples the old man in the valley has? This, no one really knows, there are about 5 or 6. Tum Ching was stunned. That means there will be 5 or 6 tombs of Dragon God level experts, Xiao Xian asked directly. That's right. Tum Ching nodded. If this is the case, the next thing we have to do is to go through these Dragon God realm tombs and go straight to the tomb of the old man in the valley. Xiao Xian said, before all the sects, be the first to open the tomb of the old man in the valley and get the inside the sacred vessel. Isn't this a bit difficult? How can we do this? In an instant, everyone present started talking. Obviously, they are a little doubtful about the current situation. After all, if you really want to talk about it, even the Dragon God realm tomb is not that easy to solve. But according to what Xiao Xian said, it is not an easy task to skip these tombs and go straight to the tomb of the old man in the Saint Valley. Not good. They all have to explain themselves here. It's very simple. What we need to do now is speed up. Xiao Xian said, no matter what, this tomb is so big. If we go there early, we will definitely have an advantage. Well said. Isn't it just a few sects? I don't believe that they passed through so many tombs without any damage. Everyone is half-assed. What are you afraid of? Tum Green also encouraged. In the next period of time, Tum Ching relied on the ancient bronze compass and Xiao Xian's guidance to quickly travel through the tomb. Because they had a clear goal, unlike some small sects who were like headless flies, they quickly found the right path. But at the same time, they also noticed that the people walking on this road were not only from their sect, but also from other sects. The Broken Star Sword sect and Yamaluadian were similar to them, both of them had injured almost half of their disciples. Fortunately, True Fire Academy was lucky and there was almost no damage. Fire Brothers. You're in luck. It seems that not only did you get the treasure, but you also have a full team. What a joy. Tum Ching took the initiative to step forward and greet the leading disciple of True Fire Academy. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1234. Oh. It turns out to be brothers Tomb Green. I don't dare to take it seriously. It's just good luck. What? You are also going to look for the cemetery of the old man in the valley. Huolai is a tall man with red eyebrows and beard. You can tell from the look that he must be someone who practices the way of fire. Not bad, traveling with us. Tum Ching glanced at the broken Star Sword sect and Yama Palace not far away from the corner of his eyes. I can also have someone to look after me on the way. That's what I meant, Huolai also agreed directly. What's going on? I remember that your Tomb Spirit Sect's team was pretty good this time. How could the damage be so serious? Huolai couldn't help but ask when he saw that there were only 10 Tomb Spirit Sect disciples. Don't mention it. I encountered a group of monsters, and several disciples encountered the mechanism, so they were damaged to this extent. Tum Ching sighed. I had known this, alas. They come, the security. Look, aren't the Broken Star Sword sect and Yamaluadayan about the same? They are probably even worse than you. I heard that they even met people from Zhongzhou. Huolai lowered his voice and said, the people in Zhongzhou are not polite to them and they attack them when they come up. Look at their appearance. Hear the news. All the Tomb Spirit sect disciples were also surprised. Xiaoxian and Bai Ling also looked at each other and listened to what Huolai said. Seeing that someone was listening, Huolai also continued, but speaking of it, the Tianli sect in Zhongzhou is indeed the #1 sect in Zhongzhou. In the time it took us to search one tomb, they actually searched 3, and there was no trace found. Not damaged. Is this so strong? Tum Ching was surprised. Is it just luck? How can this be? Look at the miserable state of the Broken Star Sword sect and Yamaluadayan. They were probably robbed by the sects in Zhongzhou. Huolai said, moreover, the Tianli sect in Zhongzhou has only 5 disciples, all of whom are high-level Golden God realm. We are afraid that we will not be our opponents. 5 people obtained 3 Dragon God realm tombs unscathed. Such a record. It is definitely the most glorious one among the tombs of the old man of the valley. For a while, Huolai and Tum Ching both felt a little solemn in their hearts. They also all know that the sects in Zhongzhou have always been domineering, and they will directly snatch anything they like. If anything goes wrong, they will be killed directly. The key thing is that, according to Huolai, these 5 people are also ridiculously strong, so the situation they have to face may be a bit dangerous. How about, let's retreat? Tum Ching hesitated and said. This. You mean, just give up the search for the old man's tomb in the valley? There was a little hesitation on Huolai's face. He was not stupid. He knew that this was indeed the safest way, but he was a little unwilling in his heart. How can this be done? There are so many people in our True Fire Academy. Are we really afraid of that Tianli sect? At worst, we can just compete to see who is stronger. Yes, we are not afraid of the Tianli sect. You True Fire Academy are not afraid, and our Tomb Spirit sect is even less afraid. Then let's go together. The conversation between Huolai and Tum Ching was also heard by the disciples of the 2 sects, and they immediately started talking. This time, both of them looked a little ugly. They haven't met the real enemy yet, and they are in chaos internally. How is this possible? Enough. We haven't decided yet whether to go or not. Why are you messing around? Tum Ching said coldly, if you have the strength, keep it to prepare for the fight against the Tianli section. If you get scared then, don't blame me for being rude. Huolai also scolded, everyone from True Fire Academy, shut up. At this time, Xiaoxian and Bai Ling came over with serious faces. However, with our strength, it is a bit difficult to fight against Zhongzhou, Huolai was confused. This. It does seem to be the case. Tum Ching and Huolai looked at each other, their faces becoming more solemn. It's not true. He originally wanted to say, you are the only one in the little golden god realm, why should you face these two people? I'm afraid that even if he and Tum Ching come forward, they may not be able to bow their heads. This is Mr. Xiaoxian, and this is Miss Bai Ling, Tum Ching explained, Huolai, the leader of the True Fire Academy. Xiaoxian said. It depends on man-made things. Xiaoxian, you're here just in time, tell me what we should do next, should we move on, Tum Ching asked. Yeah, it's too difficult, Huolai also said. I think it's better to forget it. We are indeed no match for the Zhongzhou section, I believe in him. Why don't we just leave? I think we still have to go this time. Xiaoxian nodded to Huolai and said, perhaps, this time is our most promising opportunity to get close to the real sacred artifact in the valley. Why should I believe you? How can you, a person of the little golden god realm, speak so brazenly here? Xiaoxian said. Some people started talking. How do I say this? So, why is Xiaoxian so confident? Huolai became interested and said suspiciously, you may not know that the tomb of the old man in the valley will be opened every once in a while. Even if you don't go in this time, you can still go in later. Who is this? Before Xiaoxian could answer, Huolai frowned. He discovered that Xiaoxian was actually just a young golden god. Xiaoxian, you may not know that the Xinjiang of the Broken Star Sword sect is a guy who has his eyes high above his head, while Xiao Yanluo of the Yama Palace is an extremely selfish guy. It is too difficult to cooperate with them. Tum Ching shook his head and said. Xiaoxian said, this is the best reason. Of course, if they don't cooperate, I have a way. You know, Xiaoxian is just a guy in the little golden god realm, right? But I think it all depends on people. If you don't try it, how can you know if it doesn't work? Xiaoxian said. Now we are indeed facing difficulties externally. Only by uniting can we have a chance to fight, right? If what I predict is correct, this time the contents of the tombs of several disciples of Old Man of the Valley have been taken away, and if someone will open the tomb of Old Man of the Valley immediately, then this tomb may never be opened again. Even many ordinary disciples of True Fire Academy are stronger than them. This is absolutely true. Not only the two of them, but also the disciples of Tomb Spirit Sect and True Fire Academy were surprised. Huolai was a little suspicious. Not only the cooperation between our two sects, but also the Broken Star Sword Sect and Yama Palace. So we need to work together. Good. What he said caused another surprise for Tum Ching and Huolai. See this scene. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1235. It seems that many people are not convinced. Huolai actually didn't admire Xiaoxian very much in his heart. In his opinion, in the entire Tomb Spirit sect, except for Tum Ching, no one was worthy of his trust. Can you give me a chance? Xiaoxian asked. This. Huolai hesitated. After all, Xiaoxian was also doing it for the benefit of the external sects, and just like them, he wanted to go and snatch the Zhongzhou sect's opportunity to explore the tomb of the old man in the valley. I believe you. Tum Ching supported Xiaoxian without hesitation. Gray-blue, Huolai was confused. Brother Huolai, why don't you give me some face and just trust Xiaoxian once, Tum Ching said with cupped hands. Okay, then let's go with you. Huolai originally wanted to say something, but when he saw Tum Ching's sincere face, he could only nod. Not far away. The Star Sword of the Broken Star Sword sect and the Little Yama of the Yama Palace both had gloomy eyes and gloomy faces. They originally each found the tomb of an old disciple of the valley. He had just defeated the guardian monster in the tomb, but was intercepted by the Tianli sect in Zhongzhou. Not only did he lose his treasure, but he also injured many disciples. Therefore, when I saw the relatively complete True Fire Academy and Tomb Spirit sect, I was obviously a little unhappy. Now, seeing Xiao Xian taking the initiative to come over with Tum Qing and Huo Lai, he became even more vigilant. He held a sword and would take action if he disagreed. What are you going to do? Are you taking advantage of the situation? Seeing Jian held the long sword, even if our Broken Star Sword sect fights, we will never let you succeed. Come here if you have the ability, Xiao Yan Luo said gloomily. It's not true. Don't be nervous, you two. We are here to discuss cooperation. Xiao Xian said directly. Who are you? Seeing that Xiao Xian really had no intention of taking action, seeing Jian also put away the long sword in a cool manner, a small person in the Golden God realm is worthy of coming over to discuss cooperation with me. Xiao Xian is from our Tomb Spirit section. He represents our two sections. He came here to talk with you, Tum Qing said from behind. Humph, you two sects are really getting better and better, and you actually let a person from the little Golden God realm negotiate on your behalf. Is it because your sect has no one left? Xin Zhan mocked. I think that since you have this time to ridicule, you might as well listen to what he has to say, Huo Lai said disdainfully. Good. Then just tell me. Xin Zhan looked at Xiao Xian and said, could it be that he wants to annex us? I am not interested in annexing you. Instead, I am interested in the sacred artifact of the old man in the valley. After Xiao Xian mentioned the word sacred artifact, he clearly saw some emotion on the faces of Xin Zhan and Xiao Yan Luo, and continued said, I think you are also interested in this sacred artifact, right? Nonsense, the old man in the valley is an ancient saint. Who wouldn't want the holy artifacts he left behind? Xiao Yan Luo said impatiently. But with the strength of our external sects, even if we fight alone, we are no match for Tianli section, Xiao Xian said. Say it. The four sect leaders present were silent. They all knew that this was an indisputable fact. What exactly do you want to say? Xin Zhan asked directly. Cooperate. The four of us cooperated to fight against the Zhongzhou Tianli sect and obtain the holy artifact of the old man of the valley. Xiao Xian said directly, we can divide the sacred weapon equally after that. Speaking of this, Xin Zhan hesitated, why should I trust you? Apart from this, is there any other way for you to obtain the holy weapon? Xiao Xian asked directly, it's better to believe me. Maybe there will be a glimmer of hope, right? Seeing Jian and Xiao Yan Luo made a blood oath respectively, and Xiao Xian nodded with satisfaction and said, don't worry, I, Xiao Xian, keep my word. Since I said I will benefit you, I will definitely let you get it. Then make a blood oath, Tum Qing said directly. Then what good can we do? That's right, Xiao Yan Luo, don't go too far, Tum Qing said coldly. Then we won't cooperate. Xin Zhan, where are you? Tum Qing asked politely. Hearing this, Xin Zhan raised his eyebrows and was obviously interested. Xiao Yan Luo just felt that a figure flickered in front of him, and then, a dead soul cone was fixed on his forehead. He didn't even have time to react. If it is really being used, why don't I kill you now? Take away your treasures. Xiao Xian's eyes were sharp, and he appeared directly behind Xiao Yan Luo in the next second, with the cone of dead souls on the latter's eyebrows. Ha ha ha. Little Yama felt cold sweat break out on his back. What? Don't want to? Xiao Xian pushed the cone of dead souls in his hand, and instantly Xiao Yan Luo felt a stinging pain in his soul. Tum Qing, don't go too far. I will also cooperate. Xin Zhan was really frightened by Xiao Xian's methods. He knew that his strength was actually similar to that of Xiao Yan Luo. Since Xiao Yan Luo could be killed instantly, he would naturally have the same possibility. Cooperate or die, Xiao Xian said coldly. Stand. For a while. Little Yama, don't be so shameless. Do you really think you can just sit down and ask for a price? Huolai said angrily, we have worked hard to find these treasures, why should we give them to you? Xiao Yan Luo panicked, and he realized that Xiao Xian was not joking, he would really kill someone. On the other hand, Tum Ching and Huolai looked angry. In front of Tum Green and Huolai, the person standing in front of him was clearly just a little golden god. How could such a person be so fast? You. At this time, Xing Jian and Xiao Yan Luo were a little dissatisfied. They both knew that if the blood oath was violated, they would die suddenly. I'll stand now. You. What are you going to do? You must know that when he fought against the Zhongzhou disciples of Tianli sect, this was the situation and he had no ability to resist at all. You. But is it different now? Cooperate, cooperate, I cooperate. At the critical moment of life and death, the greed in Xiao Yama's heart completely disappeared and he said quickly. I hope you are telling the truth, Xing Jian said coldly. Little Yama asked directly, if you can give us half of the treasure you obtained, we will cooperate with you. This startled him. I have seen through you a long time ago. You just want to take advantage of us. When the time comes, if you defeat the Zhongzhou sect, what will I do if you regret it? Little Yama looked proud. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1236. Okay. Brother Xiaoxian, you are really capable, and you can actually find a way to get them to cooperate. Just now, how did you deal with that little Yama? Like this, you can be behind him in no time. Your movement skills are really good. Along the way, Huolai turned into a chatterbox and kept mumbling beside Xiaoxian. This made Xiaoxian's ears a little calloused. He didn't understand why Huolai, a tall and strong man, could talk endlessly. Fortunately, there was a tomb nearby to stop him. He didn't keep talking. Okay. Although this is our first time working together, I still want to say a few words. We let Xiaoxian take charge. Do you have any objections? Tum Ching asked directly. This time, the remaining three people were silent. Xing Jian and Xiao Yan Luo were both subdued by Xiaoxian, so naturally they didn't say a word, while Huolai, who has now become Xiaoxian's fanboy, even more agreed with both hands. Instead, Xiaoxian waved his hand. In fact, he didn't care what headquarters ordered it. What he is more concerned about is, how is the operation of Zhongzhou Tianli sect? With Huolai, Xiao Yan Luo, Xing Jian, and Tum Ching, can they each stop a Zhongzhou disciple? In this way, he had the opportunity to kill a Zhongzhou disciple. In this way, the inheritance of the old man in the valley is taken away. Have you ever seen the disciples from Zhongzhou? Tum Ching asked Xiao Yan Luo and Xing Jian directly. I've seen it. They robbed our things, and in the end, they probably came this way. Xing Jian looked annoyed. If I catch them, I will kill them all, Xiao Yan Luo said even more bitterly. Then let's just wait quietly. Xiao Xian nodded. When he said this, although the four sect disciples were surprised, they could only nod and wait honestly. What they can feel is. As time passed, the temperature in the tomb actually became warmer. This means that the time for the tomb to be closed is coming. For a while, people would look at Xiaoxian from time to time, wanting to see what happened to him, but unfortunately, Xiaoxian kept sitting still, as if he didn't care about anything. I don't know how long it took. Finally, in the distance, 5 young men in silver robes passed by. He is a member of the Zhongzhou Tianli sect. Ha ha ha. You can't find anything after wearing iron shoes. I didn't expect that all of you are here. This saves us from searching one by one. The silver-haired man who took the lead sneered, in that case, just call out what you got. Why, Huolai was equally disdainful. Not cooperating, the silver-haired man shook his head, looks like I'm going to take action again. Come and give it a try if you have the ability. Huolai slapped his chest, and red flames instantly rose up. Thunderfist, the silver-haired man said nothing, flew up, and punched Huolai directly in the chest. Minchin Flame Palm, Huolai didn't give in, and also hit him head-on with a huge red flame palm. Boom! Boom! The two collided. Huolai took a dozen steps back and almost spit out a mouthful of blood, but he still managed to swallow it. Likewise, the silver-haired man didn't feel well either. A large piece of his beautiful silver hair was burned. Damn thing! Here, kill them all. The silver-haired man gritted his teeth and said loudly, and at the same time, he punched Huolai again. Tum Ching was about to stop him. However, Xiao Xian had already flown up and blocked the punch with a sword. Little Golden God Realm. Ha ha ha. It's true that your external situation is getting worse year by year. You even come to compete for the tomb of the old man in the valley with this kind of stuff. It's really rubbish. The silver-haired man laughed and punched Xiao Xian's body. Tiankong's swordsmanship. Break. Xiao Xian sneered, swung the long sword in his hand, and slashed directly at the silver-haired man's neck. This sword is very fast. Even the silver-haired man didn't react. After he saw the sword coming clearly, he quickly lowered his head to avoid it, but there was already a deep blood mark on his face. The silver-haired man touched his face and found that he had lost his appearance, and he became furious instantly. He valued his face the most and thought he was handsome. Who knew that when he came to the outside area, his face would be disfigured by a person from the little golden god realm? Ah! Trash, ants! How dare you hurt my silver light? Today, I will make it impossible for you to live or die. Yin Guang roared angrily, and the thunder light fist moved to the extreme, hitting Xiao Xian directly. At the same time, there is a silver thunder hammer in his right hand. Thunder hammer. Seeing Yin Guang take out a weapon, the other four Zhongzhou disciples were also surprised. They all know that Yin Guang's strength has reached the peak of the Golden God realm. Normally, even when faced with the ordinary Golden God realm, he would not take out weapons. Who knew that today, when facing a mere little Golden God, he would even take out his weapons? How is this going? Could it be that this person put so much pressure on Yin Guang? Or did Yin Guang enter a state of rage from the beginning? For a moment, even they couldn't help but take a few steps back, for fear that the aftermath of the battle would affect them. At the same time, Tum Ching and Bai Ling were also surprised. They also couldn't believe that Xiao Xian, a small golden god realm, actually fought against the leading disciple of Zhongzhou. When Yin Guang and Huolai fought against each other just now, the four of them couldn't handle the fighting power they displayed. Who knew that Xiao Xian was so powerful that he could fight against Yin Guang? Impossible. This, the strength of the small golden god realm. Why should I fight against the peak of the Golden God realm? Even I am no match for this disciple of the Tianli sect. Xing Zhan looked at Xiao Xian dumbly. In the Broken Star Sword sect, he has always regarded himself as a genius, arrogant and arrogant. At the same time, he also believed that he had the qualifications to be so proud. But today, Xiao Xian's performance really slapped him in the face, letting him know that there is really something extraordinary in this world. Little Yama was also surprised. At that time, he was overestimating his ability to fight against this Yin Guang. However, even if he showed his ability to press the bottom of the box, he did not leave any scars on Yin Guang's body. But now, as soon as Xiao Xian made a move, he left a blood mark on the opponent's face. He even forced his opponent to take out his weapon. This is enough to prove that there is indeed a big gap in strength between him and Xiaoxian, and they are not on the same level at all. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1237. Boom boom boom. The silver light that had completely entered a state of rage was extremely terrifying. Although he was holding a giant hammer, his speed did not slow down at all. The whole person is like a silver lightning. In this hall, chasing Xiaoxian and attacking crazily, even the earth was shaken. Boom! The giant hammer fell to the ground. The gravel flew instantly, but Xiaoxian had already dodged it. You ant! Don't you dare to confront me head-on! His silver eyes were red, and the blood flowing from his face made his expression even more ferocious and terrifying. Humph! Xiaoxian sneered. With his many years of fighting experience, he would not really face this guy head-on. I thought I could run away like this. Thunder step! Yingyang sneered, and there was a lightning power under his feet. Then, it was directly instilled into his body. In an instant, his speed increased to an extreme. Then, he chased directly towards Xiaoxian. With this thunder step, he was no slower than Xiaoxian's time and space wall. In fact, when it comes to Taoist skills, this thunder step is not as good as the space-time wall given by Mr. Chen. It's just that now Xiaoxian only has the little golden god realm, which is far inferior to the silver light of the golden god realm, so he is caught up by the latter. If Xiaoxian is now at the peak of the golden god realm, relying on the space-time wall, this silver light thunder step can't even touch the corners of Xiaoxian's clothes. Interesting. Then let me show you how strong my body is. Xiaoxian sneered. Under the movement of Tian Kong's sword technique, the Sirius sword directly collided with the thunder and lightning giant hammer. Boom! Under a loud noise, Xiaoxian and Yingguang took several steps back at the same time. They fell to the ground, and then each spit out a mouthful of blood. It was obvious that the impact just now had severely injured them. Come again, with the strength of the golden god realm, Yingguang quickly stood up, raised his hammer, and roared, "Today I will trample you into a pulp." Come on! The dragon blood in Xiaoxian's body quickly repaired the injury, and at the same time he raised his sword and faced him. Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. Boom boom boom. The two seemed to be tireless. A crazy fight started in the center of the hall, and the hard rocks on the ground turned from big rocks to gravel, and finally turned into powder. During this period, both the Zhongzhou disciples, Huo Lai and Tum Qing all thought of stepping forward to help, but every time they were shaken away by the huge aftermath, unable to get close at all. Finally, in the final showdown, Xiaoxian was hit with a hammer in the chest, and at the same time he cut off Yingguang's neck with a sword. Xiaoxian, a tragic victory. This scene made everyone present stunned and couldn't believe what they were seeing. Even seeing Jian and Xiaoyan Luo were stunned. They also didn't expect that Xiaoxian could be so strong. With the strength of a small golden god, he could kill the peak of the golden god. Moreover, this person at the peak of the golden god realm is from the Zhongzhou sect. If this matter spreads out, wouldn't it cause an uproar in the entire Nanzan Haizu? Silver light. Several disciples of Tian Lizong were also surprised. They saw that Yingguang and Xiaoxian were fighting fiercely, but they all believed that Yingguang would win in the end. But who knew that in the end, this would be the result? This is beyond belief. Impossible. This is impossible. You external sects must be using some secret method. I will make you pay for the silver light with your lives. Several Tian Lizong disciples roared and rushed towards Xiaoxian. Everyone, I'm begging you. Xiaoxian spat out a mouthful of blood, raised his hands and said to Tum Qing, Huili and others. Do not worry. We can't deal with the leader. We have no problem dealing with these miscellaneous fish. Grandma, I'm going to take revenge too. Tomb Green Fire Star Sword, Xiao Yan Luo and others are also excited. Over the years, the sects in their outer areas have been looked down upon by the Zhongzhou sect, and their disciples are also holding their breath. Today, I watched helplessly as Xiao Xian defeated the strong with the weak. They were also excited in their hearts and took action one after another, stepping forward to fight. In fact, their strength is similar to other disciples of Tianli sect, but now, they are excited, and the strength they can exert is naturally stronger than usual. Gradually, these Zhongzhou disciples were suppressed. Not a moment. Of the 4 remaining Zhongzhou disciples, 1 was killed each by Tum Qing and Huo Lai, and the other 2 ran away when they saw that the situation was not going well. This also made them feel proud. Bai Ling, on the other hand, felt distressed beside Xiao Xian, with tears in her big eyes. She stuffed a pill into Xiao Xian's mouth. "Master, are you okay? I have the pill, please heal it." It turns out that this is the elixir that Bai Ling brought from Bian Valley. At that time, the old man Bai Yan gave Bai Ling this pill and told her to take it when her life was in danger, but now the little girl actually gave it to Xiao Xian. No need. Xiao Xian opened his mouth and smiled. "No. Master, you can't give up. This elixir is very good. My master said it can bring the dead back to life." Bai Ling was so frightened that she started crying and said, "You will be fine. Didn't you also say that you wanted to teach me swordsmanship and medical skills? I won't allow you to die." In fact, Bai Ling misunderstood what Xiao Xian meant. For Xiao Xian, the best healing medicine is actually the dragon blood and little green on his body. Since he was injured, the 2 of them helped him recover from his injuries all the time. Otherwise, the last hammer of silver light would be enough to kill him. But despite this, Bai Ling still forced Xiao Xian to swallow the pill. "Master is fine. Little girl, stop crying. Master will not die." Xiao Xian smiled and touched Bai Ling's delicate oval face. Bai Ling's face was originally filled with tears, but now the blood and mud from Xiao Xian's injury turned her into a painted face. "It's as funny as it looks. Ha ha ha. Ha ha. Look, your little face is wet with tears, ha ha ha, cough." Xiao Xian laughed and coughed up blood. This made Bai Ling even more angry and anxious, and he quickly helped him stop the bleeding. "Brother Xiao Xian, come here, take one of these pills to stop bleeding." Tum Qing came over in a hurry after finishing dealing with the disciple. "This is the complex Ganodermalucidum, the secret treasure of our True Fire Academy." Huo Lai also took out a red Ganodermalucidum. The bone-condensing pill of the Broken Star Sword section. Xing Zhan took out a bottle of pill and placed it next to Xiao Xian. Yamluo Temple's black jade intermittent ointment. Even the little Yama who was digging around did not rush to pick up the treasure, but instead took out a bottle of ointment. Ouch! The little Yama who has always been stingy. Is this the same little Yama I know? He actually bleeds on his own initiative. Huo Lai deliberately mocked, "Is this the sun coming out from the west?" "Stop talking nonsense." Xiao Yan Luo glared at Huo Lai, and also looked at Xiao Xian with concern. "Brother Xiao Xian, there are not many people that I, Xing Zhan, admire in my life. You are one of them. If you have the opportunity to come to my Shattering Star Sword sect in the future, I will treat you to tea." Xing Zhan also said. "Who cares about your tea?" Seeing Xiao Xian being respected, Huo Lai was also happy for him in his heart. "Anyway, you can't drink my tea," Xing Zhan said in a rare move. "Xiao Xian, please adjust, we will take you to the tomb of the old man in the valley," Tum Qing said. Can he still go? Let him rest here? After receiving that blow, it hurts just looking at him." Xiao Yan Luo knew Ying Guang's strength best and couldn't help but say, "What's wrong? You guys don't want to monopolize the sacred weapon again?" "We won't agree," Huo Lai sneered. Fart. Although my little Yan Luo is stingy, I also know that if Master Xiaoxian were not here, we would have to explain here today that this first sacred weapon should belong to Xiaoxian. No one is allowed to steal it. Little Yama said loudly. After saying this, the other three leaders present also nodded, which was regarded as acquiescence. I have nothing serious to do. It's just a short period of time, we can't fight anymore. Under Bai Ling's compulsion, Xiaoxian felt a lot better after swallowing several pills. I don't know if these elixirs are really miraculous, or if the recovery effects of Xiaolu and dragon blood are amazing. With Bai Ling's help, he was able to move around. Let's go. Go and see what treasures this old man from the valley has left in his tomb. Xiaoxian stood up and walked towards the final tomb. The group of people moved forward. Soon I noticed a magnificent treasure house, which was densely packed with various treasures. The centermost one turned out to be a round golden chalice. Obviously, this should be the most precious sacred weapon. Under everyone's gaze, Xiaoxian also walked over, stretched out his hand, and touched the Holy Grail. For a moment, in front of everyone, the shadow of a white-haired old man appeared. There seemed to be endless pressure on the old man's shadow. This shadow alone made people have the urge to kneel down. Are you, the old man of the valley? Tum Ching resisted the urge to kneel down and asked carefully. Good. The old man's shadow looked at a group of people, and finally his eyes were locked on Xiaoxian, and he said meaningfully, I didn't expect that I had arranged so many things, but in the end, a person from the little golden god realm got it. Or someone from outside the territory. May I have your name? Hear this. Everyone was stunned. Even Xiaoxian himself was surprised. Since he came to Dao continent, no one has been able to recognize his extraterritorial identity. Who knew that the old man in the valley would see it today? Could it be that this is the insight ability of the saint? Junior Xiaoxian, I have met the old man of the valley. Xiaoxian quickly handed over his hand. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1238. Xiaoxian. Could he be the descendant of that old guy Xiao Ziyu? The old man in the valley frowned slightly, then shook his head and said, I didn't expect that old guy Xiao Ziyu would have such an outstanding descendant after living for hundreds of years. Xiao Ziyu? What Xiao Ziyu? At this time, not only Chu Yuan, but also Tomuching and others looked at Xiaoxian with a little doubt in their eyes. Speaking of which, they can be regarded as people who have known Xiaoxian for a short time. Just now, Xiaoxian killed Tianli Zongying in a single fight, but it also proved that his strength was extraordinary. But now, Xiao Ziyu is involved again? This had to arouse their curiosity. Logically speaking, since Xiaoxian comes from an outside area, he should not have a great background, but now it seems that this is not the case. Thinking of this, Tum Ching and Huo Lai also looked at each other with confusion and surprise in their eyes. If this is true, then it is not surprising that Xiaoxian has such strength. Dare I ask the old man in the valley, who is Xiao Ziyu? Tum Ching couldn't help but ask. Ancestor Xiao is one of the ancient gods and has nothing to do with you juniors. What is your purpose in coming to my tomb today? The old man in the valley shook his head and asked everyone directly. This time. Everyone present looked a little embarrassed. Purpose? What could they find in the tomb among the tombs? It's nothing more than hoping to get some treasures or inheritance in the cemetery. However, if he said it directly, he might really offend the old man in the valley. We want to visit your tomb and pay homage to your great heritage, Xing Zhan said hesitantly with a bit of embarrassment on his face. Inherited? Are you here for the holy weapon? The old man in the valley sneered, otherwise, what purpose would you have in coming all the way to the tomb of an old man like me? Say such a sentence. The people present felt embarrassed again. They looked at each other and didn't know how to answer the question. I believe that you, old man of the valley, have set up such a restriction just to select disciples suitable for your inheritance, right? This junior is here for this. Xiao Xian did not shy away from it at all and said directly. Inherited. So, you want to get my inheritance? After hearing what Xiao Xian said, old man Gu seemed a little surprised. He looked at the former and said directly, this is the first time in such a long time that someone wants to inherit my legacy. At the same time, people around Xiao Xian were also surprised. Especially Tum Qing and Bai Ling, they have known Xiao Xian for a relatively long time, but even so, they didn't expect Xiao Xian's goal to be so ambitious. Directly want to get the inheritance from the old man of the valley. You must know that old man Gu was a master in the realm of saints during his lifetime, and his every move could destroy the world. For a person of this level, his inheritance is naturally extremely precious. However, it is naturally impossible for the old man in the valley to give his precious inheritance to just anyone. If Xiao Xian wants to get his inheritance, at least, you have to show your excellent strength, so there may be a chance. However, Xiao Xian is just an ordinary little golden god realm. His realm is far more than 1,000 miles away from the old man in the valley who is a saint. How can such a state be valued? This sounds simply impossible. However, Xiao Xian can say such words in front of the old man in the valley, which is enough to prove his courage. Good. Remarkably brave. If you think about it, you can have such thoughts, but you are also sincere. At this moment, the old man in the valley was not angry, but looked at Xiao Xian with a smile. Then let's see if you have this ability. These words shocked everyone present. Ability? What ability? Listening to the meaning of the old man in the valley, do you want to test Xiao Xian's skills? Could it be said that if Xiao Xian had enough skills, he could really get the inheritance from the old man in the valley? For them, this is an opportunity to soar into the sky. It can be said that there is no cultivator present who does not hope to get such an opportunity. But now, such opportunities don't seem to be easy to come by. So, we can also get a chance to be tested. Saint of the Valley, I also want to test my talent. To be honest, if we can get the inheritance of the Saint of the Valley, wouldn't we all be able to soar into the sky? For a while, everyone present started talking about it. In fact, before they entered the tomb of the old man of the valley, they did think about whether there was a chance to obtain the inheritance of the old man of the valley. But this kind of thought only passed by for a moment. After all, even if a saint of the level of Old Man Valley wants to find a successor for his inheritance, the person he chooses must be the best among people. They really don't have this confidence. You all want to compete. That's fine, as long as you can come in front of me, you can get the inheritance. The old man in the valley smiled slightly. After saying this, everyone present was a little moved. Even Tum Qing and Bai Ling were eager to try, and Xing Zhan was even more excited and wanted to step forward directly. Huo Lai and Xiao Yan Luo looked at each other with some hesitation on their faces. Although the assassin of the old man of the valley is right in front of them, they are not fools. Naturally, they will not think that they can get the lifelong cultivation inheritance of the old man of the valley with just a few words. Among them, the conditions must be harsh. It might even be life-threatening. Then, Junior is here. Xing Zhan was the first to get excited. In the battle with Tian Li sect just now, he and Xiao Yan Luo contributed the least, so they are naturally in the best condition at this moment. In his opinion, his strength is at least stronger than Xiao Yan Luo. Although Xiao Xian was not weak in strength, he had just fought a battle with Ying Guang, which was extremely draining and was by no means his opponent. As for Huo Lai and Tum Qing, they were not afraid. Therefore, Xing Zhan no longer hesitated and walked directly towards the shadow of the old man in the valley. This scene was also seen by Xiaoxian and others. For Xiaoxian, he didn't care at all about Xing Zhan's behavior. He knew very well that even though a Saint Realm expert like Old Man Valley only made such a simple request, it was definitely not an easy task to fulfill his request. Star Sword was the first to try. It seemed that he had the upper hand, but in fact he was at a disadvantage. He had no preparation and stepped forward so recklessly. In fact, it gave others a reference opportunity, allowing others to see clearly what the old man in the valley had prepared. Of trials. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1239. In the cemetery of the old people in the valley. For a while, everyone's eyes were focused on Xing Zhan, wanting to see what he would encounter. At this time, Xing Zhan was also very nervous. He also understood very well that the test of the old man of the valley was definitely not a simple matter. If you were not careful, you might fail and become a laughing stock. At the moment, the Star Sword is also the power of the great avenue running throughout its body. The whole person was like a taut bowstring, walking forward step by step, with vigilance in his eyes. I'm afraid something unexpected will happen. At the same time, Xiaoxian and others also looked at Xing Zhan with curiosity in their eyes, wanting to see what kind of things he would experience. Although the Star Sword is not far away from the old man in the valley. However, every step he took was extremely difficult, as if he was carrying heavy shackles. This also made the faces of those present look serious. You must know that Xing Zhan's strength is also in the pseudo-golden god realm. It goes without saying that he can be sent to the land of flames. But now, what he faced was just a shadow of the old man in the valley. But look at him. It seemed like they were bearing such a heavy burden, but Xiaoxian and others also understood that this was probably the pressure of a strong person in the saint realm. In the realm of saints, turning your hands becomes clouds and turning your hands becomes rain. With a single thought, he can kill all living creatures within a corner. With a single thought, he can also resurrect everything within a corner. The old man in the valley can cultivate to the realm of a saint, so there is no doubt about his strength. As for the inheritance on him, it is naturally extremely precious. These things must be much more precious than the treasures on his disciples. Although now the old man in the valley is just a sad memory. But if you take it lightly because of this, you will definitely pay the price in blood. So this time, Xiaoxian and others also looked at Xing Zhan carefully, wanting to see how far he could go. Under everyone's gaze, Xing Zhan only took a few steps out, but his face turned red, and there were fine beads of sweat on his forehead. The power of the avenue on his body was also running wildly. It was obvious that he had used his power to the extreme. But even so, he didn't take a few steps. On the contrary, under the invisible suppression of the old man in the valley, he only took 3 or 4 steps and sat down on the ground, sweating profusely and panting. This also shocked everyone present. Although Xing Zhan is arrogant, his strength is not weak, otherwise it would be impossible to represent the sect into the flame cemetery. But now, faced with the pressure of the old man in the valley, they couldn't even hold on for a few steps, which surprised them. At this time, the remaining people looked at each other in confusion. There was a bit of surprise on every face. They could imagine that if the old man of the valley was going to test them, the conditions he would propose would of course be extremely harsh. However, looking at the appearance of Xing Zhan, he didn't even have the ability to withstand it. This really made them a little bit unbelievable. There was even a little doubt on everyone's face, and they looked at the old man in the valley with basically awe. Xing Zhan, what's going on? Why did you collapse after taking just a few steps? Little Yan Luo looked a little confused, and sneered at the Xinjiang on the ground. Is it possible that you were already frightened when you saw the old man in the valley? You are really as timid as a mouse. Upon hearing this, Xinjiang glared at Xiao Yanluo with anger on his face. He doesn't know. In front of so many people, being directly suppressed by a shadow of the old man in the valley was extremely embarrassing. Now I still have to be ridiculed. Xinjiang, who was proud in his heart, naturally couldn't accept all of this. However, if you really want to talk about it, he was completely shocked by the powerful pressure from the old man in the valley. He just felt it. It was obviously just 2 steps, but to him, it was like hell on earth. Even if he used all his strength, he could not move forward 1 step. This really surprised him. If Brother Yanluo is capable, why not go and show us a demonstration? Xinjiang rolled his eyes, with a hint of mockery in his eyes, and said bluntly, after all, the saint of the valley has said that whoever can get close to him can get his supreme inheritance. Is it possible that Brother Yama is not interested in this? Snort. Just go, so what? After being asked a question by Xinjiang, Xiao Yanluo's face was also a little embarrassed. He didn't know that Xinjiang's words were completely aimed at him. Just in his heart. His strength is better than that of Star Sword. At least, if he uses his secret technique, he won't be unable to walk even a few steps. Thinking of this, Xiao Yanluo also sneered and started to use the secret technique on his body. Lines of black mist gathered from the top of his head, and then, like a black soul, slowly penetrated into his body. This scene also made Tom Ching, Bai Ling, and others' expressions change slightly. Black Mist Soul Gathering Technique. Little Yama actually used the Yama Temple's non-piercing technique. It is said that this technique was created by the founder of Yama Palace. It can increase the strength by 1 level in a short time. According to the strength of Little Yama, wouldn't it be, that he will have the power of a strong man in the Dragon God realm in a short period of time? Huo Lai also frowned. He naturally knew that whether it was Xinjiang or Xiaoyanluo, they would be able to represent their respective sects in the search for the Flame Cemetery, and they would naturally be very capable. As for the secret ability that could be displayed, it was not beyond his expectation, but he also did not expect that Yamaluo Palace would pay so much attention to Little Yama that he even took out his own palace treasure. This was definitely something he didn't expect. Black Mist Soul Gathering Technique. Is this technique very powerful? Xiao Xian traveled across 3 continents. Naturally, he also has some understanding of the so-called secret techniques and tantras. At this time, if you take a quick look, you can see at a glance that Xiao Yanluo's secret technique can indeed greatly improve his own strength. And the extent of the improvement is still extremely astonishing. However, despite this, Xiao Xian still has doubts about Xiao Yanluo's strength. He does not think that the latter can win the favor of the old man in the valley with his secret skills. After all, if the old man in the valley wants to choose his successor, he will definitely choose the strongest among them, and Xiao Xian is confident that he is the strongest among this group of people. And people like Xiao Yanluo and Xinjiang. Even though he relied on secret techniques to forcibly improve his strength in a short period of time, this was not the right path, and I am afraid it would not be recognized by the elders of the valley. Are you crazy? If you become the leader of the clan, all the clan members will become emperors. Author, greedy for the body but not FO. Chapter 1240. I would like to see how powerful this Black Mist Soul Gathering technique can be. Xiao Xian smiled slightly and asked Tum Qing and Bai Ling beside him, do you think this Little Yama can succeed? After this question was asked, Tum Qing and Bai Ling also looked at each other, with a somewhat dignified look on their faces. In fact, as sects from external areas, they don't know much about central sects like Tianli sect, but they are relatively familiar with some external sections. Therefore, they have also heard of the secret techniques of Yama sect. I think, it's very possible. It is said that if Xiao Yan Luo really refines the Black Mist soul gathering technique to the extreme, he can break through his own realm and reach the Dragon God realm. If you can really reach the Dragon God realm, it is indeed possible for little Yama to win the favor of the old man in the valley. Tum Ching couldn't help but say. Hearing this, everyone else nodded, but all of them had solemn looks on their faces. In fact, even these people understand it. In fact, their strengths are quite similar to each other. If Xiao Yan Luo has secret skills at his disposal, doesn't it mean that others don't? Don't say anything else. Xing Jian and Huo Lai must have their own sex secrets. Even Tom Ching and Bai Ling might have something at the bottom of the box that they haven't taken out. At this time, watching little Yama walking towards the old man in the valley step by step surrounded by black mist, the others gradually became excited. You know, the old man in the valley is a strong man at the level of a saint. Even the real strong ones at the Dragon God realm level would probably salivate over his inheritance, let alone the ordinary Golden God realm like them. More importantly, this can be seen from the condition of the old man in the valley. This old man was not as rebellious as he appeared, but actually gave them a chance to inherit. Opportunities like this don't come around all the time. Therefore, everyone wants to show their true skills, hoping to be favored by the old man in the valley. Red Blood Flame. The 13 Swords of Prison Heaven. White Flame Technique. Grave Soul Technique. Then in front of Xiao Xian, Huo Lai, Xing Jian and others also showed their magical powers through the 8 immortals across the sea, using all their abilities to forcibly improve their strength. This also made Xiao Xian nod frequently. You know, these are still sect disciples from outside areas, and everyone can actually produce such powerful secret techniques. This is enough to prove their strength. However, the performance of these people was not necessarily noticed by Xiao Xian. He knew that relying on these secret techniques might improve his strength in a short period of time, but this method would not last long. Perhaps, they could get closer to the old man of the valley. But it is almost impossible to obtain the inheritance of the strength of the old man in the valley by relying solely on secret techniques. Then, I would like to see it. How powerful is the so-called saint? Xiao Xian also used the colorful aura on his body to recover from his previous injuries, and at the same time, he also slowly used the skills on his body to the extreme. Rely on the effect of Dragon Blood Body Pill. If he strengthens his current skills, he can at least raise his strength to the peak of the Golden God realm. Although it can only last for a short time. But this is already amazing, and he believes that even if the old man in the valley will set up some difficulties, it will never be a problem for him. Boom! Just when Xiao Xian was thinking, a set of frozen stairs suddenly appeared in front of them, blocking everyone's path forward, while the old man of the valley stood leisurely on the stairs. This scene also made the people present a little overwhelmed. After all, when Xing Jian left just now, there was no such thing in front of him, so why now instead there is a frozen staircase? This really surprised them. Valley Saint, what are you? Xing Jian and others had just activated the sect's secret method and were planning to show off their power in this trial. Who knew that the difficulty would actually increase? Since you want to use secret techniques, then, I will naturally increase the difficulty. The old man in the valley touched his beard slightly, otherwise, my inheritance would be too easy to obtain. Just by being close, I am afraid that I will be eroded by the cold air. Indeed, the old man in the valley is a saint-level figure. How precious is his inheritance? This also made Xiao Xian secretly nod. This cold air will actually interfere with the movement of my power of the avenue. This is just a shadow of the old man in the valley. This is what is more attractive. They had already felt the horror of the frozen stairs in front of them, but they had no intention of retreating. Just like now, this frozen staircase was created by the old man of the valley who was once a saint. The cold air in it is extremely sharp. If you don't have enough strength, let alone climb to the top of the frozen staircase step by step. However, courage also comes at a price. It can be said that as long as he has his inheritance, it will be almost easy to enter the Dragon God realm in the future. The Dragon God realm is already considered the pinnacle realm of human cultivators, and the saint has almost surpassed the ordinary human realm and reached another cultivation system. This is absolutely extremely attractive. Leave it alone. You must know that it is on the Daedao continent. Tum Ching and others looked at each other. As expected of a strong man in the saint realm, he can create such a difficult trial place with just a single thought. Before, his disciples were the simplest proof. More importantly, since the old man in the valley can understand the way to become a saint, in the future, perhaps he can also learn the way to become a saint from him. According to legend, when human cultivators reach the realm of saints, they can understand the most original secrets of the Dao continent. He knew that under normal circumstances, as a cultivator who had reached the little golden god realm, the meridians and blood vessels in his body were already extremely strong, and it was impossible for ordinary cold air to damage his body. Say it. But now, the old man in the valley can make him feel this way by simply walking up a frozen staircase. Xiao Xian murmured to himself. This also made Xiao Xian feel shocked in his heart. No matter what, I will definitely break into this frozen staircase today. At this moment, facing the dozens of feet of frozen stairs in front of him, Xiao Xian also frowned slightly. He could clearly feel that there was a bone-chilling coldness on the stairs. If it were said to be during Old Man Valley's heyday, he simply couldn't imagine how powerful the latter was. As expected of a strong man in the realm of saints. Just being close to him already made him feel that his meridians were a little blocked, and the power of the avenue was slightly blocked. It actually made everyone present feel awkward. Obviously, they were also a little surprised by the frozen stairs. At the same time, he also discovered that Tum Ching and others who had just used their secret skills also had solemn expressions on their faces. Being able to have such strength is enough to prove that the strength of the Holy Book of Saints is indeed extraordinary. They are worthy of being the best among the external sections. They are not weak in terms of strength or mental strength. Even when faced with such a difficult trial, they have no intention of shrinking.